Hello everyone, and welcome to the debut episode of HafFox Gaming. I'm your host, HalfPint, and today we're going to be talking about a super cool Fallout theory. More specifically, that this guy, Fallout 4's infamous, rightfully named Deathclaw, actually draws its cultural roots from this guy, believe it or not. The monstrosity before you is the product of the French legend of the Tarrasque. This beast had 6 short hairy legs like those of a bear, the back of an ox, a lion's head, a turtle shell, and a scaly tail that ended with a scorpion stinger. Now let's take a step back because I think most of you probably think that I'm crazy because the Deathclaw and the Tarrasque look nothing alike. But to understand how the Deathclaw pulls its cultural roots from the Tarrasque, we need to start our investigation into the Deathclaw itself. Now, growing up, I used to play a lot of Dungeons and Dragons. Playing around the board with my friends, rolling the dice, it was one of my favorite things to do. It's probably one of the things that turned me on to Fallout being an open world game. One thing that struck me as odd is that this Deathclaw right here looks a lot like that Tarrasque from Dungeons and Dragons. This prompted me to do a little bit of research. According to the Fallout wiki page, after a Dungeons & Dragons game by Interplay was cancelled, the Deathclaws were then visually modeled on the Tarrasque of the D&D canon, as a Tarrasque clay model was already made. However, according to Chris Taylor, while they do look Tarrasque-like, it was not intentional and the clay model was supposed to be a Deathclaw from the start. However, the Fallout Bible, a book written by Chris Avallone, interviewed Scott Campbell and Chris Taylor while writing the book. So the statement of them being based off of the Dungeons & Dragons Tarrasque came from Scott Campbell. Now, Chris Taylor did deny that, but I did a little look into Interplay Entertainment, the company that made all of the original Fallout games before Bethesda bought them. Scott Campbell, this gentleman on screen now, was actually the mastermind behind the original Fallout games. Campbell unfortunately left Interplay when the game was still in development, and Chris Taylor took over as lead designer, denying that the connection between the Deathclaw and the Tarrasque of Dungeons & Dragons was merely coincidental. But you have to admit, that is an uncanny resemblance. However, this wasn't the only version of the Tarrasque in Dungeons & Dragons. There was also this behemoth as well, and now things start to look a little more familiar. When we go to Tarrasque on Dungeons & Dragons Wikipedia page, it tells us that the Tarrasque not only appeared in the very first edition of the Advanced Dungeons & Dragons Guide, it's actually based upon the French legend of the Tarrasque. Now, learning the legend of the Tarrasque was one of the coolest things about researching this video. The legend of the Tarrasque is reported in several sources, but especially in the story of Saint Martha in the Golden Legend. The creature inhabited the area of Nerlich in Provence, France, and devastated the landscape far and wide. The Tarrasque was a dragon. It had a lion's head, 6 short legs like that of a bear, an ox-like body covered with a turtled shell, and a scaly tail that ended in a scorpion's sting. Now, the king of Nerlich had attacked the Tarrasque with knights and catapults to no avail. But Saint Martha found the beast and charmed it with hymns and prayers, and led the tamed Tarrasque back to the city. The people, terrified by the monster, attacked it when it got close. The monster offered no resistance and died right there. Martha then preached to the people and converted many of them to Christianity, and sorry for what they had done to the tamed monster, the newly Christianized townspeople changed the town's name to Tarascon. Now, Saint Martha is sister to Lazarus, the guy that Jesus resurrected in the Bible. Now, she founded the city of Tarascon after she tamed the Tarrasque, and it's where she is entombed to this day. Now, the Tarrasque influences culture to this very day. The Tarrasque is featured on the coat of arms of the city of Tarascon, and a festival is held every year there on the last Sunday of June to tell the legend of Saint Martha and the Tarrasque. In the video game StarCraft, the Tarrasque was a hero-class Ultralisk, a name which is also used as a reference to the Heart of the Tarrasque item present in the Dota series. So not only is it in Fallout in the form of the Tarrasque-inspired Deathclaw, it's in Dungeons & Dragons, it's in Dota, it's in StarCraft. In fact, the story of the Tarrasque being a feared monster that is tamed by a woman and then slain when brought back into society inspires movies such as King Kong and Beauty and the Beast. And to think, all of this stemmed from a book written in the 13th century about the saints of Jesus Christ and what they did after he died. That amount of cultural reach that a French folk tale from the 13th century is impacting video games and modern culture in 2017 and moving on into the future with future Fallout titles. D&D is not going anywhere. And I just think it's amazing that one book, one story can inspire so many different things. And I thought that it was a really cool theory, and I really hope that you guys definitely enjoyed it as well. What do you think, Internet? Is the Deathclaw's roots really from the Tarrasque of French myth? Go ahead and let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Give this video a like, and for more content of game theories and Let's Plays, give this channel a subscribe, ring that notification bell, and until next time, Internet, keep gaming.